In this video, we'll add content to our screen. But before we do that, let's just group the top status bar and bottom bar to make sure the layers don't move while we work on this page. So select them in the left panel, hit Command G and change the name of the group to navigation. Lock it by right-clicking on it and selecting Lock Layer. Okay. Now let's have a look at our mockups. Going to need a profile picture, a username, a photo, a like icon, a comment icon, some names over here, a comment, a like button, and a comment button. Okay, so we'll start with the user picture. In the assets folder of this lesson folder, you have a user photo. This is me, but you can change it. You can use your own face. Actually, that would be better, but I'll use mine for now. You can just drag it and drop it in your sketch file like this. Now let's make it a bit smaller. As you can see, it is not a perfect square, and if we change the proportions, this will deform the picture, and we don't want it to do that. Instead, we're going to use a mask. So draw a square of 32 by 32, like this. Make your image a bit smaller, and place your square on top of the image. I'll make the picture a bit smaller again, like this. Now what we're going to do is drag this layer in the left panel below the picture. We're going to right click and select User's Mask. Notice that this dot here indicates which layers are concerned. So if we had more layers above, they would be concerned too, and we would need to do right click and ignore underlying mask in order for them not to be inside this mask. Or another technique would be to group these two so the other layers are not affected by the mask. We'll call that user picture. You can still continue to move your image and resize it, but we'll only see what the mask let us see. So okay. Now, if we want our design to look good, we want objects to be aligned when we can. And in order to do that, we'll create a simple grid that will allow us to position our elements correctly. What we can do is go to View, Show Rulers, and double click on the ruler to create a guide. So I can grab it and place it manually like this against the border of the button and try to be as precise as I can, but I won't be very precise. Instead of trying to put the guide against the border, what I can do is unlock the navigation, select the refresh button, hold the Alt key and hover over the bar, so I see that there is a 7 pixels margin between the button and the edge of the screen. And I know that I can lock the group again. So our screen is 320 pixels wide, if I'm not mistaken. Navigation 320, yep. And we need to place the guide 7 pixels away from the border of the screen, so we need it to be at 313 pixels, just like this. We can do the same thing on the other side. so we need it to be 7 pixels away from the edge of the screen. Again, you can just double click like this to create a guide, and you can drag and drop it outside the ruler to make it disappear. Let's put it at 7 pixels like this. If we zoom out and we move the picture, it will be attracted like a magnet by the guide. But I find these red lines a bit annoying, so we'll use the grid tool in a little bit unusual way to do the same thing. Go to View, hide the rulers and the guide. We'll select Show Grid in the View menu and Grid Settings. We'll change from Square to Layout. We'll give a width of 320 pixels with 2 columns, and check the gutter checkbox. We won't touch this one, but we'll change the column width to 7 pixels. And click the gutter width text field to make a change accordingly. Click OK, and we got it. It's more discreet. What we now want to do is put this picture 7 pixels away from the top bar. What we can do is select an element, press the Alt key, and hover over an element, and this will calculate the distance between the 2 elements, the selected one and the one we're hovering. But what we're doing right now is we're hovering over the navigation group, and because navigation group is made of top bar, status bar and bottom bar, it takes up the whole screen. So what we have to do is take the top bar outside of this navigation group, select our element, press the Alt key, and then hover over it, and you can see that we have 15 pixels between the 2 elements. So if we move it 8 pixels up, we'll have 7 pixels between the 2. Let's put the top bar back in the navigation. Now we need a username. Press T to add some text. But before we do this, we need to make sure that this navigation group is locked. Now, change this to a username. You can put yours. I'll put my username. We'll change the font to Helvetica Neue, actually the typeface, and the size to 13. This will be clickable text, so it will be blue, the blue we agreed on earlier. The color is 2E5E86, and it will be bold, like this. Let's see, it is 8 pixels away, so we'll put it 1 pixels toward the left. And we might add some tracking. Something like 0.25. That looks a bit better. Now, we want to have a big, beautiful picture over here. I've provided you with one in this lesson folder, in the assets folder. Copy paste it inside the sketch file. You're going to need to make it much smaller. Give it a width and a height of 612, like this. Where is it gone? Make sure it's inside. Actually, 612 would be if we were designing for Retina, so it's out this. What you can do is use the math that you can do in Sketch, so divide it by 2, 306. Let's see, we're 8 pixels away from the profile picture, so let's adjust this. We're good. and it's perfectly aligned with the guides, so we're fine. Next is the likes. What we'll do is we'll use this icon. So let's go to navigation, bottom bar, and notif tab. Select this icon, copy it, and paste it over here. Our left panel is getting a bit messy, so let's tidy this up. We'll group the user picture and the username. The group will call user, and we'll change the name of this to photo. Okay. The user icon is great because we have the like icon. If we drag the shape, the heart shape out of this complex shape, it's right here, and we also have the comment icon that we keep for later. Okay, let's start working on the likes. We don't want borders. We're going to resize this shape because it's a bit big. We want to give it a width of 12 and a height of 10. Now let's move it against the border and make sure we have 7 in the X field, and we write the names of the people who have liked the pictures. So let's say it's a nice guy, and that like that picture. Another one, these pretty cool friends of mine. What we can do instead of doing the restyling of the text is go to the text over here, click more, and set this text as a new style. So if we select our text again, then select new style, and this style will be applied automatically. Let's zoom in. We'll make sure that this text is 7 pixels away from the picture. Let's center this icon, something like this. Okay, let's now take care of the comments. We have this icon for the comments icon. We want to get rid of the different effects completely. We'll change the color to the same color as the heart. Oh, but we need to choose a color instead of gradient first. So this magnifying glass allows you to pick any color from your sketch file and apply it to the selected object. And these two will have the same color. So now we need to resize this bubble. Give it a width of 13 and a height of 10. We'll position this icon 7 pixels away from the heart icon, so 3 pixels up. We'll drag this, pressing Alt to copy it. Make sure that this one is 7 pixels away, and that these two are aligned on the left. We'll change the name to, I don't know, I have plenty of cool friends. Keanu Reeves is one of them, of course. And now we want the comment. I'll say something like, this picture makes me unsad, because Keanu Reeves is very often sad, and I'm glad I can be of help to him. We'll change the style to actually the weight to light, the color to 5C, 5C, 5C. Let's zoom out a little bit to see what it looks like. Okay, let's position it a bit better. Let's select these two layers and copy paste them to add another comment. This time it's my friend Exhibit talking. Actually, we'll use the hashtag here because that's what the user can do, and we'll change the style to clickable to, but not the primary clickable, so we won't put it bold like for the name of the users, but we will use the blue color to indicate that it's clickable. Now let's group and rename stuff. This and this should be grouped together. These are the likes. And these are the comments. Now let's take care of the buttons. But before we start designing these buttons, I just want to show you something. Something that is mainly used in CSS, but it is very important to understand that as a designer too. When you have a button or an element or content, whatever, you have your content and around it a border that delimits the size of the element, and the border can be visible or not. The distance between your content and the border is called padding. Padding is therefore inside an element. And the distance between this element, the border of the element, and what's around it is called the margin. So the margin is outside of the element, outside of a button if it's a button. We'll start with the like button. Draw a rectangle. For now you can choose the width of something like 62 or 64 pixels. The height will be 22, and this is the right one. We want to have a radius of 3, and we change the color to a gradient that goes from E1, E1, E1 to C7 3 times. We'll add a border, select inside. See the difference? When it's inside, the border is actually inside the shape. If you select outside, the border is around the element but outside, and center is between the two. We want it to be inside the shape. Just keep in mind that if you select outside, the shape will actually be 2 pixels wider and 2 pixels taller. So inside, 1 pixel, and we'll change the color to A5 3 times. We'll add an inner shadow. Put 1 in the white field and 2 in the blurred field, and a spread of 1 as well, so we can see a bit of shadow on the sides. And we'll change the color to B1, B1, B1. And we'll change the opacity to 100%. B1, B1, B1. Alright, let's now add an icon. We'll use that one. So copy it and paste it inside the button. We'll change its color to 737373. Actually, we'll use a gradient that goes from 737373 to 5D 3 times. We want this icon to be just a bit bigger, so we'll give it a width of 13 pixels and a height of 11 pixels. Let's zoom in and position it, the icon, so that you have a padding of 7 pixels, just like this. We'll also add a shadow to this icon, a white one. Don't want it blurred. White 100%. And also an inner shadow. That won't be blurred either. And we'll change the color to 4D, 4D, 4D with the opacity of 100%, like this. Okay, let's now add some text. Right, like. And we want to change the size to 12. And weight to Helvetica normal. Try to put it 7 pixels away from the heart, and we'll need to resize the button to have a padding of 7 pixels on that side too. So width of 62 minus 5. We have 7 on this side and 7 on this side, so we're good. Let's now style this text a little bit. The color will be 6 times, and we'll add a shadow, white one. This is a bit too thin. Maybe we should change the weight to medium. Yeah, this looks better. Let's resize. Okay, now that we've made it bigger, we need to make the button a little bit bigger too, because our padding is now 6 pixels. Select the button, +1. And we're done with our like button. Let's group these and call it like button. To create our comment button, we'll work from this one. So duplicate it. And we know that comment is a longer word than like, so we can already resize this one a little bit and change the text to comment. We can get rid of this icon, select this one and paste it inside this button. We're going to make it a bit bigger, but first we're going to restyle it. So we copy the style and we'll paste it to this icon like this, and give it a width of 14 and a height of 11. Put it inside the button. Make sure that it is 7 pixels away from the border, and also 7 pixels away from the text, and the command is 7 pixels away from this border, so we're lucky. If it's not the case for you, you can just resize it like this. But make sure you select the right thing to resize. What I just did is that I clicked on the button, so it selected the group, and when I resized it, it resized the entire thing, so the icon, the text, and the rectangle. So make sure that you really select not the button group, but the rectangle, because this is what you want to resize. Let's change the name of this button to comment button. And we'll position this button 14 pixels away from this one. So 1, 2, and we have 14, yeah. Zoom out. Now we're going to take our buttons and place them against the margin over here. We might need to select the light button and check that it is well aligned with the border. You can also check this in the position line with the X and Y coordinates. And adjust the place of the comment button. Let's zoom out a little bit and get rid of the grid. Our first screen is now complete. Thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying this course, and I'll see you very soon.